When you are ready, actually, here's Paul. And when you're ready, you can begin. We're recording.
All right. So good morning. For the record, I'm Chris Young, Chair of the HDC Sign Advisory Council. Please, let's confirm everyone's access. Members, as I call your name, respond with an aye. Mark Catone.
Aye.
Paul Wolf.
Aye.
Ben Norman.
Aye.
Kevin Kuster.
Aye.
Okay, great. And staff, Kathy Flynn.
Present.
This open meeting of the HDC Sign Advisory Council is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020. That order, posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to convene remotely so long as public access to deliberations is reasonably provided. This meeting is convening via Zoom with video and audio recording, and we will be broadcast via YouTube on the town's YouTube channel. We will allow public comment. Materials provided to the members for this meeting or provided during the meeting are, unless otherwise noted, available on the town's website. During the meeting, I'll introduce agenda topics and speakers. Please remember to mute your Zoom audio until your name's called. Direct comments and questions through the chair to avoid crosstalk and make taking of minutes easier. Lastly, votes will be conducted by roll call. And with that said, let's move on to the meeting. So we'll call the meeting to order at 9 o'clock on February 2nd, 2021. Do we have a motion to approve our agenda?
So moved.
All right, Mark, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Ben?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Okay, so we have an agenda. And we have an approval of the minutes from January 26th. Can we have an emotion? We have a motion for that.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. A second. Thank you. Kevin, are you in favor?
Aye.
And Ben?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
And Paul?
Aye.
Great, thank you. So we'll move on to the first item of business, which, excuse me, Kathy, can you put the agenda on the screen? Great, so I will recuse myself from this app. There's two applications regarding 14 Sparks Ave. I'll recuse myself and give the chair to Kevin.
All right.
Minute, Kevin.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, here we go. Sorry. Everybody see that?
Yep.
Sparks Ave.
Okay, Chris, you want to just give us a quick rundown?
Actually, it is on the line, correct, Natalie?
I'm sorry?
Is Natalie Seminaro online?
I don't see.
I can give you a rundown. Basically, this is just replacing existing signage with same size, same location, just a new graphic.
Does anybody have any concerns with this?
No concerns. No.
But a motion.
Motion approved as submitted. Second.
All those in favor of Mark's motion to approve, Ben? Aye. Paul?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
I'm an aye as well. That is approved. You want to make that for both of them?
I want to see the other one.
Okay. You didn't do your homework, Ben.
No, I didn't. I did not.
The other one looks like it hangs above the door, similar to the previous sign.
All right, I'm good. All right, I'm good.
Okay, on Ben's motion to approve the second application,
So moved.
Paul,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
I'm in approval as well. Ben, I assume you are?
Yep.
That passes as well. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, the
thanks,
next,
Kevin.
do you need me to
Yep.
tell the next application for you? Would that be easier?
Sure, that would be great.
Because I can't have, I can share two applications at once, so I haven't figured it out yet. The next one is 12 Oak Street, and Wendy Boulard, I believe, is here to speak on it.
Okay, Wendy, do you want to introduce this application?
There she is.
Hi, everyone. I am opening up a new toy store and art studio at 12 Oak Street called Barnaby's Toy and Art Shack. And a little bit similar to what I was doing at Bookworks, we're just really blowing it out. And I'm using the same exact sign that was there with William Ravis and Windwalker. We're actually using their bracket. We're using that, like I said, exact same size. It's going to be just wood and they're going to hand paint the letters on there. Super simple. That's about it. I've taken my colors and really kind of muted them a lot to try to kind of fit in more.
Okay.
A little bit, yeah, more mute than what I was using over at Bookworks, but
Okay, let me open it to comments. Mark, do you have any comments?
I guess I'm trying to get a sense of what it really looks like because I can see the graphic, but then the mock-up.
we're going to use just kind of like an unfinished wood, obviously with some sort of, varnish over it.
And that's a blue band around the exterior to match the letters.
Yep, to match the letters. It's hard to see the colors on the computer, but it is like a real navy. Yeah.
Okay, there's one graphic, I think if you scroll to the bottom, Kathy, that shows the,
We can just assume that graphic on natural wood.
Mhm.
I don't have any
put you on the
comments at
spot.
moment. I think I'll hold and wait.
Okay. Kevin, you,
Yeah, I do have some comments. I very much appreciate, the look and feel of the sign. However, I just don't think it's approvable on the basis of the fonts and kind of how it's organized. I don't see anything in there that that would be approvable from a typographic and even a color way, which is unfortunate because, it is a toy store and it should be playful and all that. But I think there's other ways to accomplish it and still have the sign have an historic feel. So I'm not in favor of the way this is shaping up. I understand the earlier sign was approved that was, smaller and a little more tucked away, but this is pretty prominent. And I think there's probably some other solutions.
okay. Paul?
I have some reservations, but no comments at this time.
All right. Ben?
I think I share some of Kevin's concerns, although it is a toy store. I think we should be, allow some whimsicalness for a toy store, and that whole Oak Street shopping building is sort of a anomaly, non-historic looking setting as it is. So yeah, I think it could be done differently. I also am, I think, I'm in, not, I don't want to say indifferent, but not too overly concerned about it. But at the same time, I worry about the smaller lettering getting lost in that wood grain. But that's from a design standpoint, not necessarily approvable or not approvable, but just that mock-up, you can kind of see that it's really hard to read anything other than Barnaby's. So that it's not a concern of our boards, but if I could just express my own view, it seems like everything gets a little lost in that grain there, but
Okay.
that's my,
Yeah, I think that, so Wendy, I think the concern coming across is simply the, the fonts are supposed to be serif fonts, if not block capital lettering. Or when we go to a logo that uses atypical fonts, the idea is to have it represent only 15% of the sign. So that's just to give you a sort of context of the comments coming from the board. And I agree with Ben. My first reaction was it is hard to read. That's just a comment on, effectiveness more than design. But do you have any thoughts on, did you have alternate designs in mind, or was this sort of the one and only that you
Yeah,
come
this
up
is
with?
where, I mean, this is our logo, and just keeping with my brand, with my children's books. I really wanted to kind of keep with that kind of fun, whimsical font. And so you can sort of, obviously it's a brand thing as well. It is kind of like it's not a tough location, but it is kind of a hard location in terms of retail. So I really wanted something that could attract the kids. I mean, the whole back of the store is a kids cafe. So the whole idea also was to have a place for kids to finally go and sit down and do homework after school, and have a place. These kids loop around town for hours with no place to go. So that is sort of my goal of this as well. And I want obviously kids to be able to see it from the street. I want people to be able to see it, and keeping with this sort of fun, whimsical, brand that I've created. So I don't have any other designs. I don't know if anyone has any suggestions on what I could do to sort of, obviously comply with your regulations.
Yeah. So the key, Barnaby's is the key as far as the font and the logo, so to speak, right? The Toy and Art Shack, if that's become your logo
Exactly.
for this location,
Exactly.
isn't necessarily the identifiable element. That Barnaby's is what's going to draw
Exactly. That's what it's really.
the attention. So, I mean, I'll open it up if anybody has a comment that they want to make. I'm just thinking that if maybe Barnaby's is left as is, that's 15% of the sign size, more or less, and come up with a way to represent. And I think the Toy and Art Shack could perhaps be just presented so it's more readable. But that could be done in a way that it has a approvable font or a design that would allow Barnaby's to remain. I'm just speaking out loud. Does Kevin, do you have any thoughts on something like that? Since I think you were I know you were concerned about that font.
Sorry, I was on mute. I think that would be worth looking at. It's, I think my concern overriding it is we have a lot of applicants that want to use non-traditional fonts, and I'm just concerned that if we blatantly let it go again here, that we're setting a really bad precedent for a pretty firm guideline. But I think your idea of taking the Barnaby's and separating it, maybe making the subscript, block letters or something, maybe a way to make that work. But it's not that different than when we were dealing with a Nantucket hotel and they wanted to have a contemporary font and they used a different font for their sign. I think that's part of the way the retail landscape looks here, is that it's an even playing field for people with the guidelines. So I guess I'd like to see some more effort put into trying to, meet the guidelines.
Okay. Yeah. So Wendy, is that something that you can stew on a little bit? Come back to us at the next meeting?
Yeah, I will. I'll work with my graphic designer on this and see if we can come up with a couple of options.
One last comment, if I may, Chris.
Yeah, Mark.
I almost want to see, this is a rare situation, but I think I almost want to see the background go like linen or white or something. I think it'll enhance the playfulness, and I totally think the sign should be playful. Kidding Around is around the corner from this location. I think her sign is very playful and colorful as well. And, I think that sign is certainly appropriate. And I agree with the comments in terms of maybe scaling back Barnaby's, but not changing it. And then maybe a modification of the remaining graphics. But and maybe it's just this graphic that's been represented, but I think going with something, some kind of a background versus the wood may actually help pop it and maybe even make it look a little bit more traditional or more in keeping with our guidelines. It might help it read better from a distance, because I agree that's a tough road. And you're viewing these really from the ends of the block typically. So
yeah, we had chosen wood just because the whole interior are like these little shacks that kids can step into that are wood, and it's all art.
Got it.
Each shack is like a different art
Yep.
form. So we had kind of kept with the whole, that's the reason for the wood.
I wonder, like, one thing we didn't mention here is that it should have a border or a frame. I see the edge is painted blue, but like maybe if you did a background color and it's framed in a natural wood or something. I don't know. Again, it's falling, but I appreciate that you're trying to tie the signage to the interior. So
yeah, thank you. Okay. Do I have to then go through the process of resubmitting everything again, or how does that work?
No, you should just a new graphic.
Just a new graphic.
Yeah, we'll hold this. We'll just hold the item on the agenda, so it'll carry over automatically to the next meeting.
Okay.
Right, and
Right, Kat?
yes, and Wendy, you just email them to me and I'll help you through it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, the next meeting is the 23rd of March. Yeah, March 23rd.
I think-
Yeah.
I'll make a
Unless
motion
you
to hold
wanted
for
me-
revisions.
second.
All right, so we have a motion to hold. Ben, are you in favor?
In favor?
And Paul?
Yes,
Okay, Kevin
Aye.
and Mark?
Aye.
Okay, thanks, Wendy. Yeah,
Can
Paul?
can I make a comment, Chris?
Yes, sorry.
This is Paul. I agree with what Mark said about putting a background on the sign as opposed to the wood. And I think, to be honest with you, that wood surface with a couple of coats of varnish isn't going to weather very well. So I think the paint is going to protect the sign much more than having a wood finish on it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you, Wendy.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay, so we have, the next applicant is 38 Center Street. Do we have Theodore on the line or Varus?
It's Miranda.
Oh, Miranda, thank you. Would you like to introduce us to this application?
Well, thank you so much for your time in reviewing this. We have never had a business on Nantucket, but we're so very excited. We are going to be using the space that was formerly Toe & Co. on Center Street. We are DTR Modern Galleries, and this would be our 5th location. We have locations in New York, Palm Beach, Boston, and Washington, D.C.
Okay, great. And so your sign is a projecting sign that's going to be hanging on the existing bracket.
Exactly.
Okay. And I guess let me ask this question off the top. This location has had other signage, meaning some signs like applied lettering on the windows, which were not approved. So I just want to make sure that this is the sign and the only sign that you're planning to use for the building.
Well, I was working on designing some decals, which I was going to go through the same process as this.
Okay.
If that's all right by you.
Yeah, just, you are allowed 2 signs for the business. Pay close attention to the sign guidelines because they'll be very specific about window signs. So and what was previously there was not approvable. And so they had been sort of identified as a violation. So just don't use their
Okay.
what was there before as the guidelines for your new design. Window signage is definitely limited in scope, and it's supposed to be painted and not vinyl applied stickers. So just keep those things in mind. But the
Okay.
sign book will outline all that for you. So
Mm-hmm.
based on this application, let me open up the floor. Ben, do you have any comments?
I don't think the design looks great. Can you just remind me what's allowed for square footage?
Yeah, 5 square feet for a
Oh, okay.
2-story building. So
All right.
I think we're like right there.
Yep, we're good.
Slightly large, in fact, by like 0.4 square feet. So maybe a couple square inches bigger than the allowable. So if we could say,
Keep it to the 5 square feet.
yeah, I'm trying to come up with what that would be.
What that math is. Good luck with that.
26 and 7/8 by 26 and 7/8 would be, so if we want to be technical.
Yeah.
So
I
Miranda,
did go from their sign. They actually gave me the parameters that.
okay.
So I just wanted to, like, I understand if it's not going to be 28 by 28, but I just as a
Yeah.
reference point, I do want to stress that I am taking into account what was there,
Okay,
and I want to be completely respectful.
thanks. If we could ask you to modify that to 26 and 7/8, which is barely
Okay.
discernible, but let's just stick with the guidelines so that we don't
Sure,
continue the trend. That would be great.
I understand.
But Ben, thanks. Ben, any other comments that you had?
Oh.
You were happy. Okay. Mark,
No concerns.
Kevin,
No concerns, motion to approve.
oh, well, let me let Paul speak.
Oh, sorry.
Paul, That's okay.
I have a question. I'm looking at the photograph here. Is this gallery upstairs and is there something else down in the lower level with a different signage?
Where the scrimshaw is below us.
Is that a different
Yeah,
store?
Yes.
and they have their own entrance, Paul. That's sort of like a
Okay,
stairway off the, yeah.
okay. No concerns.
Okay, thanks. So Kevin, you have a motion to approve?
Yes, so moved.
Anybody want a second?
Is that to reduce it to 5 square feet?
Yes.
Yeah, so motion at 26 and 7/8. Great.
Sorry, Kevin.
26 and 7/8. Thanks. Was there a second in there?
Second.
Thanks, Mark. Ben, are you in favor?
Yes, I am.
Paul,
Yes,
Kevin,
Aye.
and Mark.
Aye.
All right. Miranda, thank you. That'll go approved at the 26 and 7/8 size.
Perfect. Do I don't have to, do I have to resubmit any of the changes or make it a?
No, Kathy, you can make note on the plan or on the
Yes.
application.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thanks, Miranda. Okay. Who is representing the surf club?
Nick and Lauren are here.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
I'll give you the floor then. You want to introduce us to what you're doing?
So we recently purchased 21 South Water Street. It's no longer going to be dealing with easy street flooding. So we are simply moving our sign from our previous location on Easy Street to 21 South Water, and it will be double-sided.
Okay. And what was that building previously, just so we can kind of get it context? Do you know what the,
That was Station 21 and Corazon Del Mar.
yeah.
So it's going to be
Got
retail
it.
on the first and second.
So you won't,
And then the takeout side will be a restaurant, to-go restaurant.
okay. Let me open the floor up. Mark, do you have any comments?
No, I don't think so.
All right, Paul,
No, no comment.
Ben,
First, does anybody remember the pizza place that was in there 30 years ago? What was it called?
I mean, it was called
Victor's?
Arno's.
No, it wasn't
Oh,
ours.
no, sorry, Vincent's.
Vincent's, yes, Vincent's. All right, that brings me way back. All right, the sign looks great. I think that's great. You know, I think I've always had a critical eye of your storefront because there seems to be a whole lot of merchandise and signage popping up and other, you know, decorations that seem to be a little past our comfort level. So this application looks good, but I guess I just want to express to you that, you know, if we start seeing, you know, your signs and windows again, like we just saw in that picture of your old storefront, and, you know, other boogie boards hanging out with sale signs and stuff like that, we will follow up with issues. So you can see it in the window there. There's that banner.
Yeah, that's just when on our off season when we're closed. Same thing in Forest 5 and all of the surf shops have done for the past like 20 years. That's
Yep.
kind of where we got that from.
Okay.
But this
Well,
location doesn't have any sidewalk frontage. Like on Easy Street's kind of was a strange spot because the property line goes out to like 4 feet off the sidewalk, which I know our first few years we were trying to figure that out with the town and what was allowed and what's not. But with the new location, it's a much cleaner setup. There'll be nothing outside at all.
great. Sounds good. Then I'm good.
all right, thanks. Kevin,
I have no comments. I appreciate Ben's note on the past, but I have no comments on this. I think it'll look great.
all right, so do we have a motion for approval
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
All right, Mark, you in favor?
Aye.
And Ben,
All right.
Paul,
Aye.
and Kevin?
Aye.
All right, that carries unanimously. Thanks, guys. Good luck in the new location.
Thank you.
All right. And we have 4 South Water Street. Relocating a sign. And who is on? Is it Jacqueline? Is that what I'm seeing? Who's online for this?
Jacqueline, you're muted. I just asked you to unmute. We can't hear you. There's a little microphone. Okay, there you go.
Sorry about that.
Thanks,
Can you hear me?
Jacqueline. You want to tell us about your application?
Yes, my name is Jacqueline Antico. I'm the manager of Charleston Shoe Company. We are looking to use the exact same existing sign that we had on Federal Street and just relocate it on South Water Street at our new location.
Okay. Is it using the existing bracket that's
Correct.
on the Opera House building? Okay. All right. And Kevin, do you have any comments?
No, I think I think it's an approvable sign. Unfortunately, I don't think it does anything to relate to the architecture of the building at all, but that's my comment, I guess. It feels like it's just a foreign object, just like on that photograph. It never seems to fit with the building of where it goes. It just seems to be stuck on. So I guess those are my comments for now.
Okay. Paul,
No comment.
Ben?
Yeah, I agree with Kevin. I think that the Miami blue of the sign and that nice barn red just clash in a weird way, but I'm not going to say no. I think it's an approvable application. I agree with Kevin.
Okay. Mark?
I don't think I have any concerns.
Okay. Do we want to make a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Thanks. Kevin, are you in favor?
No, I'm not.
Okay, Ben,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
okay, and I'm an aye. So well, that'll carry 4-1. And go up to the board for approval. So thank you, Jacqueline. That's gonna be recommended for approval at tonight's meeting.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank
good
you.
luck in the new location.
Bye-bye.
Mr.
Thanks,
Chair,
bye. Yes,
there is somebody here to discuss their window signs on South Water Street.
Okay.
Annie Teasdale, so let me just pull up her.
all right. And we've finished the agenda as far as new applications, correct?
We have.
Okay, great. So Annie, you have the
My name's
floor.
Justine
Oh, hi,
Timms,
Justine.
and I can open it up. So we have these window garment flyers since the beginning of COVID, since we opened last summer. We decided, well, we changed our whole layout of our store because we wanted to be as safe as possible for our employees and our customers. So we wanted to add some viewing from the outside, since we were only allowed to have 6 customers in at a time. And since there was less viewing of our items in the store in general, you kind of picked what you wanted, and then the employees would get the items for you. So we weren't aware that this was signage per se that wasn't approvable by the committee. So I guess we are wondering if there's any possibility of moving forward with this same sort of layout with the garment flyers in the future or not.
Okay. So,
I was
Go
just
ahead.
going to add one thing that obviously last March and April, when we weren't even knowing the future of what COVID would affect our business, which it severely did, I would say we were pretty near half down. We thought we would even have to do a takeout t-shirt business. So we all went in a bit paralyzed as to what to do. And hence we wanted to have, we're open online there. And we just felt like we had to act pretty quickly. We made our store more of a counter service instead of letting them come in and touch things, which I've noticed most people didn't do, but we felt that we have a lot of local kids, et cetera, and all the parents expressed their, that we've taken care of this protection issue. So it's not necessarily something we're going to keep doing. Obviously, the takeout part is easier than having people touch stuff, but we didn't even know if people were going to be allowed in the store at this point, and which obviously everyone knows we didn't open until beginning of June. So motivation was a survival mode. We have always had that sale at the top in the winter. But yeah, pretty much it was for them to see it, be able to come in, not be in as long inside, and be able to be, we made it more user friendly. So I just want to stress that in this economic downturn for retail, it helped us, and not knowing what's going to come up. But anyway.
If I may, I drive by this every day. I actually thought they did a creative job in addressing the challenges of the last year. I also thought, I always looked at this and clearly made the conclusion it does not comply to any of our guidelines. But I find that's consistent with almost every other business out there trying to survive. Restaurants, town signage for that matter, that's posted all over buildings right now. I'm okay with this. I think this falls under the governor's directive or whatever it was that was provided, so that this could continue, with the understanding that once that's lifted, this is going to have to come back into compliance, just like every other establishment out there that's trying to do their best to stay afloat right now. So I actually think they did a tasteful job compared to some other operations out there that have gotten really I hate to use the word tacky, but I thought this actually was not a bad solution to a challenge, and I actually appreciate it. So I don't have actually any concerns with this, with the understanding that this, like every other establishment, would need to come into compliance once the governor's order is lifted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Let me just ask the rest of the, yes.
I just wanted to just interject real quickly, just for the benefit of the applicant and anybody else that's watching. As you are aware that the emergency order 11 adopted by the Board of Health and the Select Board, I believe in April, allowed downtown dining to waive certificate of appropriateness for any kind of building alterations, minor, and signage. So with the understanding that this type would also, that we weren't really enforcing it, and I believe you did have a brief discussion about this at the beginning when we started meeting on Zoom, that we would that you would tackle this as they came up on a case-by-case basis. But to what Mark said, I don't exactly know when it'll be lifted, but you know, there are going to be others that are like this, but my understanding that we'll be dealing with this on a case-by-case basis as the pandemic winds down.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I don't think that we're out to shut anybody down in the midst of all this, but it's important
for Annie to understand that the town wasn't enforcing this because of COVID, and in turn, this council wasn't enforcing it because of COVID. As restrictions ease up, they're just making you aware that there'll be a time when we're going to have to rein everybody back in. So
right,
it's simply that.
Right, and as we see with a lot of the applications that we get, where they base everything on what was there the year before, we just need to make sure everybody's aware that last year, the precedent-setting year for all of these locations. So Annie and I'm sorry, I forgot your manager's
Justine,
name, but Justine, thanks, Justine. You know, thank you guys. I'll let the rest of the board speak, but I think as Kathy says, this is, and Mark was pointing out, this is really more to let you guys know sort of where we will be when we get back to normal, needing to bring things back into line. Kevin, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Yeah, I think this, you know, was a creative solution to a difficult time, and I'm in agreement with Mark that you know, it's appropriate until the order is lifted. I'm not sure why the town just decided to allow restaurants and not other businesses, but I think some things could be done to clean it up a little bit. You know, the sale word on top is, and even the always open, I think a way to clean it up would make the business look a little less desperate and also make the street a little more friendly. Overall, however, I think we have a bigger issue with these photographs in buildings. You know, these garments aren't, you know, the photographs in the buildings of them aren't any different than a piece of real estate on Main Street. And I think both of them tend to clutter up the streetscape. So I'd like to see that once this order is lifted, that we go back and tackle all this kind of clutter and not just, you know, allow, you know, realtors and not allow somebody else. So that's a discussion for a different day, but my recommendation would be to just hold this and, you know, revisit it, you know, after the order is lifted.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Mark or Paul?
I agree with what Kevin just said. As I look at this picture here, none of those signs is approvable under normal circumstances. So the always open online would have to go away, and all the stickers in the windows would have to go away. You know, there are guidelines as to how many signs you can have and where they go. So I think this doesn't say to me, we're open because of COVID. It says you can come online, you can look at the window and see what's on sale. I think the sale sign should go right now. And then I agree, we take a look at it after the restrictions are lifted.
Okay, thanks. And Ben, did you?
Nothing to add. I think everybody covered all the proper points.
Okay, thanks. So Kathy, this is not a violation. This was just a notice, correct? This, I mean, this was not an actual.
Yes, it was
fine.
it was a courtesy notice.
Courtesy
just
notice.
to tell her
Okay.
that.
Yeah. So, so Annie and Justine, do you guys have any questions or other comments, or do you understand sort of where we're all coming from?
Yeah, completely understand. No questions at this time.
Okay.
Well, thank
All right,
you.
well, thank you. Thank you guys. Thanks for responding, and good luck with maintaining your business while we're all dealing with this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Kathy, did we have anything else on the bottom of that agenda?
It says discussion and possible vote on the construction sign letter to the Nantucket Builders Association. I did receive feedback from the notices I sent to 13 Parsons and what's the other, 154 Cliff, and inform them that you all would be drafting a letter to send to the Builders Association. So stay tuned. Didn't know how far you had all gotten on that.
Has anybody begun drafting a letter? I have not. No. Okay, so we need to hold that till the next meeting, and maybe we can get. Does anybody want to volunteer to draft that letter?
Not sure what this was about.
This is regarding the construction site signage.
Let me see.
Just
if
a
I can
general.
find-
We were talking about drafting a letter, I think, to have the Builders Association send out to all of its members, and just and then we would use it maybe through the building department if we could, or
If you give me
sort
a
of an
minute,
open letter to the builders.
I'm looking for the email that, remember the email I sent you all from Leslie?
Oh, that must have been a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Let me see if I can find it.
Well, it reminds me, I still owe the mission statement.
We've been missionless.
We've been all kind of busy. Do you all see that? Copy of that email? Did you all see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was what I sent you all.
Got it.
And this is in the fall.
Is there something not in the guidelines that we're trying to address, or?
Kevin, you weren't at the last meeting.
No.
That when they discussed it. It's online. If I can send you the link if you wanted to watch it.
It's really just trying to send a letter, sort of being a little proactive, so that we set the tone for what's approvable, or what's what would be allowed, so that signs just don't continue to pop up in the most conspicuous places and getting larger and larger.
These are like the on-site construction.
If you give me a second, Kevin, I'll pull up what I sent out.
Yeah, I was out on Eel Point Road recently, and there's just a lot of signs popped up there too.
So this one right here. Whoa, I sent that one out and got a response back. And 13 Parsons right here. The same thing. I got a response back from them. That one.
Okay, what were those responses?
What do we do? what are the
Oh,
guidelines?
okay.
Yeah, so I said that you
Got it.
all were in the midst of drafting something because there are so many vacant lots. And it's important from what I remember from the discussion last, that those who need to find the locations for deliveries and for emergency situations, that's why the sign maybe should be there, maybe temporarily, maybe but either way, because of the way the building is going out here, with so many vacant lots and the property is usually way in the back. And so just to identify it as a marker.
So are they asking us to come up with some kind of a freestanding exception, or?
That's sort of what we discussed, is if there isn't a building that's within line of sight, how do we address that need for identifying a property location? And, you know, I think, Mark, you might have brought up the fact that it's just like, you know, finding a property address after a house is built. But meaning is a street number enough? But I think there's something to be said for trying to let people know who's responsible for the project at the same time as helping deliveries and things happen.
These signs are, you know, clear. I think we haven't, I know I haven't revisited the language we have in the guidelines now, because I think we do address this on some level. What we're clearly seeing is that, and I think it's been mentioned, that these signs are becoming larger, more prominent. They're up for, you know, I think several months after a completion as well, or much longer than they need to be. Designers attach their signage to it as well. It just almost get billboard like. And I think we need to just revisit the language we have in the guidelines now and make sure that we stress that's what we're suggesting for compliance versus what we're seeing out there now.
Yeah. Yeah, the guidelines right now pretty much call for must be attached to a structure. So that's the.
Did we say
that's
like
the problem?
Like I thought we addressed that too, because we knew the structures wouldn't be in place. This goes way back, but I thought we were like attaching it to a fence or a temporary fence or something of that nature.
Mark, I'm trying to show the minutes, but I can't figure out how to screen share it.
Mm-hmm.
But just real quickly, it says discussed a freestanding sign, construction sign, discuss providing direction for the Builders Association to address proliferation of freestanding construction signs, recognize issues with respect to deliveries and contact information. Signs are becoming increasingly larger and more prominent. Many are placed on empty lots, supports reaching out, guidelines state 1 square foot attached to a building, discussed updating where location of sign should be and what should be mounted to, draft something and vote, send out to Builders Association, add topic to future agenda.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
if that's kind of like a quick summarization of your last meeting.
I mean, 1 square foot's pretty clear. And I think if there isn't a structure to attach it to, then we can make a proviso for, you know, a 4x4 post, you know, not to exceed a height of, you know, certainly 48 inches or less. You know, where these things are sometimes as wide as 6 feet and as tall as 6 feet, you know, on 2 posts.
Yeah. So we just need to put these things into writing, right? That's the objective here. Then we'll vote on it and send it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So does anybody have the time or interest to put that letter together for us? Maybe the time being the critical component.
I can add it to my pile. As long as you don't hold my feet to the fire.
No, just make it part of our mission statement.
All right. It does need to be done.
Yeah, but if it's,
All
yeah,
right.
I can send you the link to the meeting if you wanted to watch it.
Okay.
Make it easier for you to get a sense of the temperature of the board at the time.
I got a feeling that we're probably going to need to come up with a few different letters to people as we come out of the pandemic to kind of get back on track with enforcement. So it's probably the start of it.
Got it. Agreed. Okay, thanks, Kevin.
Well, I do have to mention as staff that I get more replies from sign violations and courtesy notices than property violations and courtesy notices.
Really?
Yeah, they call me right away or they email me right away and want to fix the problem and bring up into compliance. So that's nice to see.
Great. Well, our reputation precedes us then. All right, is there a motion to move on this meeting? Or Mark, you have something?
Real quickly, one comment. Nathan Coe reached out to me. So he's relocating from obviously his Center Street location. He's going to 30 Main, which is the former Lion's Paw, which is now 3 units, I believe. So he's asking, and this is not so much a question for the board, he's asking if he can recycle his projecting sign for that location. And I think he wants to add a wall sign, or does he have to start from scratch? But my response might be, now that that's going to be a multi-unit first floor space, or at least 3 units, do we want a master sign plan submitted with the first application?
I think that's a good idea. I'm actually working with the some members of the lodge that own that building.
Yeah.
And I could ask them who would be it would be good for them to just put that application in now, and future tenants will know what they're
I agree, because I think it's
dealing
all
with.
going to come up. I think it's all been rent. I think it's all rented. So we're going to see applications coming forward,
Okay.
coming weeks here. Nathan being among the first of them, or Nate. So I'll respond as typical, but that we made a recommendation as a board that the property owner submit a master sign plan, and that'll really guide his direction.
Got it. Buzz Polchinski is the one that I've been working with.
Okay.
So I'll reach out to him after this meeting and let him know that.
All right, great. Thank you.
You know, that's probably something that'll, I can't think of the names. Isn't Vis-a-Vis, and there's someone at the other end of that building where I think there's 3 businesses in there, but their signs are smaller, and they, I think, did a good job of working it.
Oh,
you
as
know,
an example? Yeah.
As an example, yeah. I would just hate to see, you know, 1 2x2 sign and 1 oval sign, and, you know, because I noticed that I can't think of the name of it, but the store that was on Center Street, kind of across from Born and Bred, there was no, the one in the corner had an oval sign, a blue oval, and they've moved now to Main Street in that little shop on the right hand side of that 3 stores. So I imagine they're going to want to come back and put that out there. So yes, I do think we should look at the building overall, because it could get really cluttered really fast.
Yeah.
Okay. Good point.
Motion to adjourn.
Is that all right? Thank you, Kevin. Do you have a second?
Second.
All right. Thanks. Ben, are you in favor?
Favor.
Paul,
Hi.
Kevin,
All right.
Mark.
Aye.
Bye, you
Farewell,
guys.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.